Tomorrow. And I know how that sounds, and I hope to clear this up. Let me say it this way. Could I do something today to affect the news in my life tomorrow? While I may have plans, and those things that I plan on today, I can begin to put those things in motion to make, the news of tomorrow come to pass. But could I do something today to affect tomorrow's news in my life? I've got planned to do whatever tomorrow. Okay, can I put those things in place today to help to make those plans come true tomorrow? Let's say tomorrow me and you have a time to sit down and we're going to talk. All right, this afternoon I could sit down then and I could get on my phone and I could call you and I could say, look, tomorrow at 5 o'clock, let's me and you sit down and we're going to talk. I will meet you tomorrow for whatever. Tomorrow at 5 o'clock, we're going to do whatever. Well, I could begin today to kind of put things in line so that me and you could meet tomorrow. But could I also do something to have those plans altered? Could I do something foolish today that tomorrow's news would actually be different? And somehow or another somebody called you and said, listen, your meeting with Brother Steve has been canceled because of. Maybe there's something that you have to do tomorrow. And again, I'm working up to a point now, so just hang with me. There's something that you have scheduled for tomorrow. And so you begin to make preparations. You put all things in line so that you can meet that obligation tomorrow. But something happens. And you begin to take another turn. You begin to have a change of heart. You begin to see the thing differently. Because there's things that you could do today to alter those plans. And the word I want to use today is the news for tomorrow. And that thing that you were supposed to do, that place you were supposed to go, those people you were supposed to meet with, that meeting that you had, tomorrow's news now is going to be different. And you're not going to get to make that appointment. Keep that in mind this morning. And this morning I hope you can finish on the same page that I want to finish you with on this. In Proverbs chapter 27 and verse 1, not that it is wrong to plan. We are to plan. But listen to what he said here in Proverbs chapter 1 verse 27. Proverbs 27. Proverbs 27 and verse 1. Boast not thyself of tomorrow, for thou knowest not what a day may bring forth. Boast not about tomorrow, because you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. Now, there is no explanation needed for that. There is no long theological discussion that needs to be made about that. All of us understand how brief life is, and how plans change, and how expectations of tomorrow can all of a sudden not be what we thought they were going to be. Boast not thyself of tomorrow, for you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. Okay, I told you James. James chapter 4, verse 13. James chapter 4. Verse 13. Go to ye that say, today or tomorrow we will go into such a city and continue there a year and buy and sell and get gain. All right, that's the plans. We're going to such a place tomorrow and we're going to buy, we're going to sell, and we're going to get gain. We're going to go here tomorrow, and this is what we're going to do. As a matter of fact, we're planning on being there for a while. We're going to go here, we're going to continue for a year, we're going to buy, we're going to sell, and we're going to get gain. We're going to school, we're going to get married, we're going to go into a career, we're going to raise a family, we're going to work in our job for so many years, and then we're going to retire, and we're going to spend the rest of our life sitting on the front porch waiting for the mail to run. That's what he's saying here. But that's not what I want to use. Verse 14 is, whereas ye know not what shall be on the morrow. For what is your life? It is even a vapor that appeareth for the little time, and then vanisheth away. That's what I want to use. While it is good to make plans, we know not what shall be on the morrow. What I've done this week, I sit down and I scratch myself out some references that I want to look at this morning. And I would be here a very, very long time if we stopped and we took all of these just one by one. All these that I wrote down on this Post-it note here. If we was to go back and we was to take maybe a lot of the surrounding things that happened around them, then I would tax your patience for a long time. But this morning it's not so much what happened as it is how that brought a change. It's not so much this morning the circumstances of what has happened here, so much as it is what is going to happen tomorrow. Again, we could do something today to make our tomorrows maybe plan out like we thought. But tomorrow is so uncertain. Tomorrow is not here yet. While I have very little control over what is happening now, we certainly have no control over what happens tomorrow. In the book of Joshua chapter 3, I believe it is, long about verse 5, 6, somewhere longer than I hope I can remember some of these. Joshua came and he told the people basically, he said, sanctify yourselves against tomorrow. You set yourself apart tomorrow. Sanctify yourselves against tomorrow. He said, because tomorrow the Lord is going to come and He's going to do wondrous things among you. And I chewed on that for a while this week. The Lord's going to come tomorrow and He's going to do wondrous things among you. What is it that you'd like to see the Lord do tomorrow? If tomorrow comes. What is that thing that you need the Lord to do in your life tomorrow? What is that thing that you have sought the Lord for? Maybe over and over and over. There is a burden. There is a desire. There is a need. There is a cause. There is something that you have sought the Lord for. And you have waited and waited and waited. Wouldn't it be good if we could do the things today that tomorrow the Lord could come and could do wondrous things among us? But here's the thing now. Can I do something today that God wouldn't show up tomorrow? Maybe not necessarily in a wondrous way, but in a way of judgment. That's what I'm getting at. I want us to see this morning from both sides, and I prayed and asked the Lord to help me to get this across. I'm not necessarily coming this morning to judge us. I'm not coming this morning to say that I have some crystal ball at home and I have been able to forecast the future. I don't do that. I can't do that. But there are things today that we can do that tomorrow can be a better day, or if tomorrow comes, it can be a worse day. There's things that we do to plan for our future, right? I mentioned some things a while ago about going to school and getting a job and getting married and raising a family, having a career and eventually retiring. Well, if that is our plan for tomorrow, then we begin today to do those things necessary that goal can be met, right? While we have no idea what tomorrow is going to be, but we do those things so that if tomorrow comes, that expectation won't take us by surprise. We find us a good spouse. We build a home. We get a job. We set some money aside. We begin to plan for retirement. And then one day at 65 or 67 or 70, wherever it's at, because way back here somewhere you begin to make plans, well then when tomorrow comes, you're not surprised because this is what we've done today. And so what Joshua was telling them is, he said, you sanctify yourselves, because tomorrow the Lord is going to come and he is going to do wondrous things among you. That would be good, wouldn't it? If that would be tomorrow's news. That we've sought the Lord, we've sanctified ourselves, and we've lived in such a way that tomorrow the Lord could come and we could see that burden realized. We could see that thing that we have sought him for, that tomorrow, and I'm not saying 24 hours, but it is something that we're looking for. It is something that we are anticipating. It is something that we have come and we have anchored our faith in God about. And we are looking for God to bless and for God to do wondrous things in our life. Well, what I'm telling you is, that could be the news for tomorrow. It could be. So I would encourage you this morning just to keep on keeping on. I want to encourage you this morning not to faint, not to get discouraged, not to feel like that we have no hope. Because that thing that we are waiting on, it may be tomorrow that is tomorrow's news. And then we begin to tell everyone that this is what God has done for me. I wanted to turn to Psalm 30. And I wanted to read there this morning, where he said, weeping may endure for the night, for a while, for several whiles. There may be a lot of valleys. There may be a lot of bad times. There may be a lot of rough going. He said, weeping may endure for the night. But what's the next part? Tomorrow. Weeping may endure for the night, but joy comes in the morning. Did you know that could be tomorrow's news? How many of you got up this morning, and I hope you didn't, but how many of you got up this morning and the first thing you done was you sat down with your phone and you caught up on all the details? You know, that is the worst thing you can do before church, you know. How many of you got up this morning and you got your cup of coffee and you sit down and you turned on Channel 7 or Fox or CNN, wherever you get your news at, and you started your day today with a negative? You heard about whatever's happening in Israel, whatever's happening in Russia. The government's all shut down, and about the economy and all this kind of stuff. And you are already, coming to church on a note, That's probably not the best way to say that. But you know what I'm talking about. I mean, you've come this morning and you already discouraged him before we got here. I'm going to tell you, weeping may endure for the night. But tomorrow's news could be different. Tomorrow's news could be different. And so while we are here, and this is where we are, and this is the condition that we're in, I want to encourage you this morning and yet warn us that tomorrow's news can be better than today. Don't look at just this. The Bible says to ponder the path of our feet. The Bible tells us to keep our heart with all diligence, for out of it are the issues of life. There's a lot of things that affect tomorrow. And while I cannot in full know what tomorrow is, what I want us to look at tomorrow, or today, is tomorrow's news can be different. And so again, I'm not going to take time to go through all of these that I have wrote down on this piece of paper. I want to go through them with you real quickly. I wrote down Joshua chapter 11, I believe it is. I believe that was the next one I had wrote down. If you could imagine, Joshua is here, and I didn't go back and count them. I'm not going to go back this morning and again give us all the details or all those things that are around it. But basically what has happened is Joshua has looked up and he has saw this host that has come against him. He has saw these armies of all these kings and all these warriors that has come against him. And could you imagine Joshua now in the place that he is? Moses is gone. Joshua has been now called to come in and take up Moses' place to lead the people of Israel over into the promised land. They are not there yet. And all this host, it just began to come against him. Could you imagine what Joshua's thinking about tomorrow? I mean, have we come this way only to lose here? Have we come this far only to be defeated? Have we come this far only to be overtaken by our enemies? I mean, it's doom and gloom, right? I mean, when you're standing here and you're wanting to be over there in the promised land, and God has made you some promises, and yet here he is, found himself up against the enemy. And I can't remember the man's name, probably couldn't pronounce it if I could. But the prophet came to him and basically told him this. He said, tomorrow the Lord is going to come. And tomorrow, he's going to take all of these that are right here ahead of you, and he will slay them before you. Tomorrow. Not today, but tomorrow. So today, you're up against your enemy. Today, the devil has come, and he has, Today, the storm has came, and it has beat vehemently. Today, the trials of life have come. You're in a Job situation. You're in a Paul situation. You're going through a Joseph thing. How many days do you think, and I wouldn't know this, but how many days do you think Joseph kept waiting for tomorrow? 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 How many mornings did Job get up and he looked at himself? And he looked at his situation and he thought, will tomorrow ever come? Will I ever get over this? Job couldn't go to the back of the book like we did, or like we can remember. Job didn't know how it was all going to come out. How many days was Paul in jail? How many times was he beat? He got to wondering, I'm pressing toward the mark, but when will it come? Well, that may be where you are this morning. You may be facing the enemy. You may be oppressed by whatever. You may be going through the night. But can you hear what he told Joshua? He said, tomorrow, all these enemies, I'm going to slay them before you. Now, part of me, it's kind of like John, and I'm thinking, even so, Lord, come Jesus. If that's what's happening tomorrow, then Lord, you just come on, because I am so ready for tomorrow. I feel like I have been in the lion's den so long. I feel like I've been going through the fire so long. I feel like I have fought the Goliath just over and over and over. Can you hear what he's saying here? Tomorrow things are going to be different. Tomorrow our enemy could be beneath us, if I can say it that way. If we don't faint, if we hold on, if we can endure to the end, I believe based upon some promises that God has made us, some assurances that we have in the Word of God, because of who God is and what God can do, I would encourage you this morning about tomorrow's news could be different than what it is today. Both not tomorrow. We don't know what tomorrow is. And I know what he's talking about here in a proud, arrogant sense, but I want you to see this morning that tomorrow could be better than what it is today. All of this has got us down today. We could be above every bit of that tomorrow. I wrote down 1 Samuel chapter 28. You're going to remember the account here. And again, not going to deal with a lot of the things around it. But a lot of us feel like that we have just this long lease on life, I mean, we're just going to, like he said here, we're going to go into such a city, and we're going to continue there a year, and we're going to buy, and we're going to sell, and we're going to get gain. me tell you about that. Saul was told to go out and to destroy Agag. You remember? Not to leave anything that was there. But you go out and you totally destroy them. Well, Saul didn't do that. Saul spared the best of the flock, took the spoil and all that kind of stuff. Well, as Samuel came then, Saul come out to him and said, I have performed the commandments of the Lord. And Samuel said, really? Why then do I hear the bleating of the sheep and the lowing of the cattle? And you know that account. Sometimes after that, Saul is going into battle. And so what Saul needs to do now is, Saul needs to hear from the Lord. So I can see him getting off out here maybe somewhere and he's calling upon the Lord and he don't get no answer. And so you know what he does. He goes and he calls up Samuel. And basically what Samuel tells him is, I told you what's going to happen. I told you what's going to happen. God by my mouth told you that God's going to take the kingdom from you. And he's going to give it after a man who is after his own heart. And you know who that was? That was David. And so now Saul can't reach the Lord. So what's tomorrow's news for Saul? What is the word that Saul gets about tomorrow's news? This is it. Samuel told him, tomorrow, about this time, you and your sons are going to be with me. Tomorrow's news. Tomorrow's news is, Saul, that about this time you'll be dead. Tomorrow's news, about this time, that you'll be dead. I mentioned this to somebody. I don't remember whether it was here or some of you about it. But after we had Miss May's funeral, I still had the little funeral home thing in my Bible when I got home. And so sometimes after that, I got home and I opened up my Bible, and there was Miss May's picture on the funeral home thing. And I looked at that picture and I thought, well, you know, she looks pretty happy there. And I have no idea where the picture was taken at. But this is what I wondered. Has my picture already been took that's going to be on mine? You think about that now. You know, if tomorrow about this time that I'm dead, you know what Jennifer and the children's going to do? They're going to get their phones out. Let's use this one. Let's use this one. And so they'll take it to Wade Funeral Home, I guess, and they'll give it to him, and they'll say, this is the picture that we want to use on his obituary. I thought about that. You all just have. Your picture's been took a lot of times over this past week. Somebody maybe with the grandbabies. Maybe at a place you went. You went somewhere and had pizza this week. There is a picture of you probably that somebody has put on Facebook. There is somewhere in somebody's phone that you were with, and it was one of those happy, cute, get-together type times, and they took your picture. But tomorrow's news may be that picture is going to be on your obituary. Because who knows what's going to be on tomorrow. And so I guess what I'm asking is, if tomorrow's news is that I'm going to die, that you're going to die, would there be something today that I would want to do before the news comes that I'm going tomorrow? Would there be something I would need to take care of? Somebody I'd need to talk to? Something I'd want to change? Something I'd want to make right? Because tomorrow's news is that we're going to die. Now, if I'm meeting the Lord tomorrow and I am prepared, part of me, again, longs for that day. But for those that don't know Christ, what if tomorrow's news for you is that you're going to be in eternity? What if the news for you is that you're going to stand before God undone? You're going to stand before God in a lost condition. if that is the news that is going to be in your life tomorrow, tomorrow my phone's going to ring. Sometime during the night, my phone's going to ring. And somebody's going to say, Brother Steve, have you heard? Well, see, I'm still on this side now. I didn't die, you did. And somebody's going to plan your funeral. And so my phone rings, and they're going to say, have you heard, so-and-so has passed away. The first thing I'm going to think about is, well, I'm glad they've trusted Christ. Or have they? The first thing I'm going to think about is, well, that person is now at rest with the Lord. Or are they? I mean, you can change the news for tomorrow today if you trust Christ, is what I'm getting at. Because none of us know what tomorrow may bring. The news for Saul was that by this time tomorrow, you and your sons are going to be with me. So what's he saying? Proverbs 27, don't boast about tomorrow. Don't boast about tomorrow. You know what a day's going to bring forth? James says we're going to go into a city. We're going to continue there a year. We're going to buy, we're going to sell, we're going to get gain. But we don't know about tomorrow. And so the question that I'm asking is, over and over is, what is going to be the news in your life tomorrow? What's going to be the headlines that's written about you tomorrow? What's going to be the news that circulates tomorrow? Every so many days on my phone I get a text. County Line Church, and this is the news. County Line Church, and this is what we're going to do. County Line Church is going to meet early for song practice. County Line is taking up diapers and wipes for. All right, tomorrow's news is what for you? That's all I'm asking. When the text goes out tomorrow, what's going to be your news? Tomorrow, can it be changed? Matthew 27 and verse 1. Judas goes out, he betrays the Lord, and he gets the money and all that he does with it, You know what Matthew 27 verse 1 says? And when the morning was come. And when the morning was come. Judas goes out, he betrays the Lord, but tomorrow it looked different. Tomorrow he realized what he'd done. The next day he realized he'd made a mistake. The next day when he woke up, he realized maybe the gravity of what his decision was. But when the morning was come, and he wanted to go back and redo that thing, he couldn't. This morning there's no long explanation about that. We know about sin. We know where sin leads. We know what sin does. Tomorrow, what's going to be the news in your life? Did you do something today or yesterday or last week that you sold out yourself to the devil? Was there something last week that you did that could bring death to you today or tomorrow? And again, I don't know that now. I don't know. But it looked different tomorrow. I can see Adam and Eve in the garden. Let's go do this today. I can see Achan go down here and he says, let's do this today. I can see Ananias and Sapphira, let's do this today. But then when the morning comes, when the morning comes, I can see young people, let's do this today. Let's smoke this today. Let's drink this today. Let's sleep together today. Let's commit this today. But now when the morning comes, when tomorrow comes, and you got something you can't wipe off. You got something you can't get rid of. Again, now, not doom and gloom now. Not doom and gloom. All I'm asking is, what is going to be the news in your life tomorrow? What's going to be the thing that goes out about you tomorrow? Have you heard what happened? Have you heard what they got caught doing? Have you heard where they were at? Have you heard he's sick? Have you heard he's going to have, you understand what I'm getting at? Boast not yourself on tomorrow, for you know not what a day may bring forth. Boast not, we're going to go into a city, continue their year, buy and sell and get gain. But we don't know about tomorrow, and that's all I'm asking. Tomorrow, what's going to be the news in your life? Was it Genesis 19? And again, don't hold me to that, but I think it's Genesis 19, 18, 19, somewhere along in there. The Bible said that Abraham got up early in the morning. Abraham got up early in the morning. Now, how early in the morning is, I don't know. But early in the morning, and I could just see him looking back. And the Bible said that the smoke of Sodom ascended up. The smoke of Sodom ascended up early in the morning. Right, what they were doing the night before, or the day before, or the weeks before. But early in the morning, the smoke ascended up. That's what I want you to see. But it's not about tomorrow. Don't think we got tomorrow. And we're going to continue their year. We're going to buy, we're going to sell, we're going to get gain. We may not. Because tomorrow's news may be different. Tomorrow things could be totally different than what they are today. Tomorrow things could be a lot better than they are today. They could be. They could be a lot better. This past Wednesday, when Brother Billy was here, and like I told you, I had been thinking about some of this. Brother Billy read to us this past Wednesday night where he talked about, remember Jehoshaphat coming against Sennacherib, I believe it was, and all those kings. And so what happened was Jehoshaphat came and he looked and he saw all the hosts, remember? And he said, Lord, we have no might, we have no power, we have no ability to come against this great host, come against us, neither know we what to do, but our eyes were upon thee. When you go home, go down and read just a little bit further. And again, I can't think of the man's name, the prophet. But the prophet came to him and said, hold on just a minute. Let me tell you about the news for tomorrow. Now, Jehoshaphat is looking at all the hosts that's coming against him. And then the prophet comes in and says, let me tell you about tomorrow. Tomorrow, the Lord's going to come, and all of these are going to be slain. You're not even going to have to fight. He said, you just stand still and see the salvation of the Lord. Wouldn't that be good? I'm telling you, that'd be some good news for tomorrow. Matthew, I can't remember the chapter right now. I'm going to close with this one. Matthew said to beware, to be awake, to be vigilant, to be sober, to understand that the Lord has went away, but He's coming back. And again, I can't remember the book right now, but in one of the chapters in Matthew, it uses the term, in the morning. He may come at midday, He may come at midnight, or in the morning. Wouldn't it be good if the Lord could come tomorrow? Well, Steve, I don't know. It could be, but it could not be. That is what I'm getting at. If the Lord come tomorrow, there's a lot of things that's going to be different tomorrow. If the Lord comes tomorrow, for those of us that know Christ, then there's no sickness. There's no more separation. There's no disease. Acts and John said He went, but He's coming back. And wouldn't it be good if the Lord could come back tomorrow and then we could be at rest, waiting for that day that's out ahead when there's going to be a new heaven and a new earth? And we're under righteous rule. And we have all those promises and all those things fulfilled that, the Scripture tells us about that's coming. Oh, that would be wonderful news if that would happen tomorrow. But for those that don't know Christ, then the news wouldn't be so good. He said, because there's going to be two in the field. One's going to be taken and one's going to be left. There's going to be two in the bed. One's going to be taken and one's going to be left. There's going to be two at the meal. One's going to be taken and one's going to be left. You know what they're doing? They're just living their lives. I mean, they're going to work. They're having a family. But one's going to be taken and one's going to be left. You know when the Lord's going to come back? When we're not looking for Him. And that could be tomorrow. That could be the news for tomorrow. And so what I want to get at, and I'm going to close with this thought. If whatever we need to do today to make tomorrow's news good, to make tomorrow's news pleasant, make tomorrow's news joyous, then let's do today what we need to do so that tomorrow we could enjoy all that God has for us while we sing.